All right, we ready to start whenever?
Yeah, I need us to get enlightening. I'm ready to
want to do
enlighten
this?
myself.
All right, welcome back to High Tales with the Lit Sisters. We added a new episode. So we were doing our weekend cabin, listen to it, record, listen to it, record, listen to it, record.
Which was awesome.
Which was great.
Yes.
In the third record, we were like, we bit off a lot.
Yes.
We should probably just stop it here.
We were listening to it like on super speed.
We
like, like over 2x.
Only on the sex scenes.
Yes, we dipped over 2x, or we peaked over 2x during the sex scenes. Because it was awkward.
I took a video. I may or may not post it on our Instagram at some point.
I need to see the video before I approve it posting.
You're just going, oh my gosh. Oh, your eyes get big. And then you can hear in the background, click. Okay, so for this episode, we're going to have two more. So for this episode, we are reading through chapter 53. So chapter 40 through chapter... You tell me this out. And I still do it.
Yeah.
I still do it. Maybe this time you'll keep it in.
No, I won't.
Was I appealing enough? Hey guys, guess what?
I will always take that out.
We're reading chapter 40 through 53.
It doesn't age well. Let's just say those parts don't age well.
We change our minds. I think we don't start with any questions. Let's just dive right in.
Well, I think we need to say, remember where we left off last time.
Oh yeah, that's probably organized of us. We probably should do that. Okay. Yeah. Oh, they were leaving Zahina.
Yes, Traeger got killed with an arrow through the heart.
In their games, yeah.
And they were like debating, well, should we bury him? Where should we put him? And Kat was just like, do not leave him here. These people are obsessed with us and dragons, and somebody will dig up his bones.
Yeah.
And so one of the griffins carried Traeger's griffin.
I forget.
And another griffin actually carried Traeger. And then they went to this isolated island, which...
She said they flew for a whole day to find a small island in the middle of the ocean. And when she landed, I don't know if this is important or not, but she noted that the sand was black. Mm-hmm. It was dark, but she's like, I'm pretty sure the sand was black. And as soon as they landed, they felt power ripple through them. Still not enough to do a ton, but at least she said half of the intensity of Navarre.
Yeah.
So way more
than
I think at the last
the big thing is, finally they're able to communicate with their dragons.
Yes, so you turn around and you see like people playing, and you see Drake like scratching a spot behind his griffin's ear, and very obvious that they're all happy and able to talk to each other again.
Yeah.
So they land. Before we get to the serious part, I did think it was super cute that Drake walks over and he's got the cat, and his name is Broccoli. And his reasoning for naming the cat Broccoli is no one really wants broccoli, but it's good for you. Meaning, like, broccoli brought this little, like, camaraderie and sensitivity and sweetness to the group. I will say, as soon as I finished the book, I started doing all the memes on, like Instagram and the different reels and things like that. Broccoli is very popular in the social media world for not a whole lot of airtime in the actual book. Like, everyone... There's memes
Everybody
about broccoli,
wanted more cat.
Everyone wanted more cat. There's all these memes about the cat. And this is the last time we actually hear about the cat.
Well,
the cat.
Until next book, the cat may have a central role.
Maybe Broccoli will...
Broccoli is definitely making Mira not hate Drake anymore. She walks around Drake a little bit more for some cat time.
I think we're going to have... I think there's way too much sexual tension
There's going to be a Drake and Mira, enemies to lovers.
For sure. So they build pyres. They do a little ceremony and burn Traeger and his griffin. Mm-hmm. Violet, as that has happened and it's concluded, she kind of determines where they're at. Because remember, I know I'm upset I don't have a map. I think a lot of you are upset you don't have a map. But they also do not really have a map that they know is accurate.
Yeah, so quit complaining about it. Because Rebecca has to have explorers go around.
Rebecca,
like
you
cartographers.
You better re-release with a full ass map in the next book.
She needs cartographers to go around and map it out accurately. Yes. Nobody's done that. Centuries. Nobody's done that. Get off Rebecca's back.
Marissa.
This is again why my book came first.
This is fiction.
Don't get me started.
She knows. Anyways, Violet determines. She really becomes a leader here. I really liked this. She's questioned every leadership decision, I feel like, until now. And now she just kind of goes, okay, so we're going to split everyone off. She splits everyone off. Everyone kind of looks at her and she's like, what? I had the Griffins do the shorter distance. Mm-hmm. I had the like-minded dragons together, and then I separated me and Xaden because our dragons have a bond, so we can communicate with each other and know where people are at. What?
Yeah.
What? Like it's hard?
Well, and I did get a little bit of a vibe of everybody was like, well, Violet, you and Xaden go together. Yeah.
But it made sense. That was a leader
totally.
move. Like, we have built-in walkie-talkies. Like, why would you have the two walkie-talkies go together?
Yeah.
No. Separate them. So they're going to do little flyovers of the smaller islands. Kat is like, no one can leave until the fire's out. So Violet Violet can tell that Kat is like itching to get the hell out.
Yeah,
like she needs to exit. Leave. She's like, me and Riddick will stay. You guys all go. Complete your flyovers.
Yes.
Riddick comes over, and the relationship that Riddick and Atram have cracks me up. He like is kind of fucking with Riddick, and Riddick's like, these are my only shoes. Now they're soaked. And then the dragon just like spits water all down him and drenches him from head to toe. Totally playing around. And then Riddick turns to Violet and he's like, he's just getting me back because of the last prank I got him with
my
itchy
prank
powder.
Was so much better.
I got itchy powder between his scales. Like it's very interesting to me how they are both jokesters.
Yeah.
There are also a ton of memes that I've sent you and reels that depict their two little like funny relationship.
Yes.
For the Quest Squad.
Yes.
Meanwhile,
I would hate that dragon relationship.
You would?
Oh, a pranking one?
You'd rather have as Tarn's walking away, she's like curmudgeon and he's like, I heard that.
I would love to have an old man dragon.
I think Atram would be pretty cool.
I could do teenage dragon. I could do Andarna. I don't think I could handle Seagal. I would be
that's
scared.
Already your phase of life right now? Is that why you're like, I'm already doing it? Might as well have a teenage dragon too.
No, because then eventually she'll be my best friend. No.
Someday.
I think I'd probably lean old man curmudgeon.
Yeah.
I think Seagal, I would be too scared of her.
No, I think I'd like Seagal.
I know you would.
Yeah. Yeah. Sassy.
Sassy pants.
Sassy to boot. All right, so everyone's taken off.
Yes. And then, so all of a sudden, the ground like shudders and dragon tracks appear ahead of them. And they're huge.
Yeah.
And so these enormous dragons appear. There's 6 of them across the beach. And they're like bigger than Seagal. So we know that Seagal is not as big as Terran, but one of the bigger sizes of all of the dragons in the Vale. And Andarna is still sleeping. And that's one of the reasons that Riddick and Violet got chosen to stay, because basically Violet was like, we need to let Andarna sleep as long as possible. She's tired.
Yeah.
She needs time. And so these dragons appear, and there's this like really high pitched whistle. Gosh, are you really doing the sound effects again?
I think it brings something to the podcast, Marissa.
I think you need to practice more then. Okay.
Hello, human.
Yes. And at first, Violet like doesn't respond, and the other dragon was
Why
like,
do all these dragons talk to her when they're not supposed to?
I don't know. But she doesn't respond. She's just like, oh, like, and another dragon just looked at her and was like, maybe this human is stupid. It's so funny how they talk.
I forgot about that part.
The whole
they talk about her
conversation.
like she's not even there.
Yeah, they totally do that.
Yeah.
And so so Andarna like wakes up and actually responds like in a sassy way back, and like was like, maybe you should get out of her face when she was like, maybe this human is stupid. She's like, maybe you should get out of her face.
I love Andarna.
So
she's always ready to throw down for
Violet.
Yeah.
So all of the dragons are basically like covering their humans and is like throwing down, like all anxious and everything. And
you were looking for they squared up.
They squared up. Yeah, I don't know even
Atrium
what that means
and
now.
Tarn squared up.
I don't know what that means.
They got like fight stance ready. Like for us, it'd be square up.
So
right? Like square.
I feel like
you see my fist.
Yes, I see.
Square.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like you're teaching me a lot about violence.
I'm a little worried about you. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. We're getting close to the end of the world here, and you got to pick up some skills.
Okay. You're really worried about like the grid falling and
that one time. It's not true. If my husband actually listened to this podcast, he would say she talks about it like at least every other day. Listen, my conspiracy theory side of myself has become myself. It hasn't even picked up at this point.
Which is, again, another thing you pick up from our father because he's always been prepared for a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, but that was joking. I think that was halfway joking.
His joke has now become reality.
Yeah.
Because he does have like a chest of guns.
Why don't you? I feel like we all should.
I don't even have a baseball bat in my bedroom.
I don't have one of those either. Yes, I do. Actually, if you're watching this, I have
so many weapons.
I have an armored truck.
Don't come to my house.
Don't you do it.
I have actually a security system.
Actually, for most of the country, you just say Chicago and people are like, ooh.
Yeah, don't come to my hood.
Yeah, we're so tough.
Well, no. I think you swung it too far. It's like that ancient alien things where like they talk about it and you're like, oh, actually, I could hear that. And then they like take it a step further about, okay, aliens could have existed. And you're like, oh, maybe that is why that happened. And then they take it like one step way too far. And you're like, you just ruined that whole theory for me.
Like we all used to have 25 fingers.
Yeah. And it's like, no, we didn't.
Right.
That's just bullshit now.
You way to ruin it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So anyway, during this whole conversation, let me just say these big A dragons are being so condescending.
They are elitist.
Yes.
In the dragon world.
And you know what I thought?
They're yacht club dragons.
I was like, they're the fancy, they're bougie. They're bougie dragons.
They're bougie.
But anyway, so they keep saying Andarna was the criterion. And we come to find out that they purposefully left one dragon egg to then test whether humanity has risen to the like bar that they think is worthy. And these guys are pacifists.
Stopped using violence.
Yeah.
Same with the dragons too, though.
Yeah.
Like they are the elitist dragons. They're pissed at all the other dragons as well.
Oh yeah. They're like, has the Empyrean finally grown up?
It's basically what they said.
And stopped fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You little children.
Yeah. And so during all of
you
this,
took your peaceful ways away. We're still fighting now.
Again, they're being super, super judgy. And during these conversations, like they keep talking back and the humans keep talking back and forth. And it gets to the point where all of the golden or what are they? The irids. Mm-hmm. All of the irids are like, stop like having these side conversations in the middle of our conversation. It's rude. Because they're like the dragons are just all mind to mind. Yeah. And so then Riddick and Violet start just signing on the side instead of talking on the side.
Yeah.
But anyway, Andarna like goes to like stand up for everybody, and she actually goes through like her whole story of how she selected Violet, and it was like talked through the presentation, and during the presentation
like, really
she's very proud of herself, and they're like, you presented yourself? And she's like, no, they presented us, and if they weren't worthy we would kill them.
At the beginning they were asking lots of questions, and then they started getting really quiet and just like let her talk.
Yeah. And so, and all of the questions like that they're asking, wait, you did this as a baby? Mm-hmm. And Violet's like, well, I didn't know she was a baby. And they're like, why did two dragons bond? Are you guys running out of humans?
You guys bunking up now? Weird.
This is weird. But like they are talking it through, and they just said, we left behind the criterion to measure human growth and hoped that you guys would have the ability to choose tranquility and harmony. And you kind of failed. And there's no reason you should.
Best job.
No, you should have blossomed under the ward stone. And during that time, like, Andarna's like, we can't, like, there's only one ward stone.
Right.
Like, there's not enough room. We're still dying.
Yeah.
That's why you need to come fight with us.
Yeah.
Another thing about their judginess is they like were mad about Andarna's tail. And what we didn't realize is through the growth process, you're actually able to, or at least Irids are able to choose what their tail is.
No, all of them do.
Yeah.
But they said it came out of need. I think they said this in Iron Flame.
Yeah.
I remember at one point. It forms out of need. So I feel like it's I got the impression it was kind of like your signet. Right? Like you got a scorpion tail or, it was kind of like that. But they did choose a tail, essentially.
And all of the Irids, they're feather tails. So
they saw her tail. Remember the one was like, what did you do?
What did you do?
What did you do?
But they live in this special world where nobody knows they exist. Yeah. So something I thought about during this is they had the privilege of being pacifists.
Yes.
Not everybody has that privilege.
Exactly. And that's what Andarna was trying to tell them. And she kind of kept giving them softballs. Didn't you feel like she would say something and then they'd take it the wrong way? Like she's proud of herself because that's how she was raised. And, she's raised by the best battle dragon known, in history and stuff like that. And they kept kind of like trapping her, in my opinion. They were like kind of trapping her in those.
Yeah. And so then they find out that Violet channeled Andarna's power as a child. Yeah. And they're like, that is so dangerous. And because she had talked about how she needed the longer sleep because this happened.
Yeah.
And that's why her wing doesn't go all the way out, because they were like sizing her up.
This is why I was saying, like, then she would try and explain herself and then they would find more and more and more. They saw her wing was messed up.
Well, and even Violet during this whole conversation was like, she thinks she's doing so good, but it's not going well at all. And they actually find out there are like hundreds of Irids.
Yeah.
So there are like more than there are dragons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is crazy that this whole pacifist community is just hidden from the world.
Yeah.
Where they're like, okay, you didn't pass. And so 3 of the 6 Irids actually fly away. And so Violet's like, shit, we're losing.
Not probably a good sign.
Yeah, this isn't going well. Their dragons that are left are like questioning her a little bit more, and how the conversation is going. Like Violet's like, okay, maybe there is a leap, because they're saying, well, how did you not know that she was a baby when you bonded with her?
Yeah.
And she said, we've literally never seen babies. We have no idea what the hatching grounds look like. We've never, like, it's against the rules to ever see juveniles. We've only ever heard like myths of feather tails. We had no idea,
which,
right?
Technically, they are feather tails.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, in her dad's research and stuff, I wonder if he found the Irids or something like that, because they are feather tails.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and when they described Andarna, like, oh, there's a feather tail at the thing, they didn't talk about it. They didn't talk about it like it was a baby. They talked about it like it was another breed.
About the guns that we had.
Yeah.
They were coming to get
By
us.
the way, if you didn't hear, police just drove by my house. They passed it, though.
This isn't common, okay? We say like we're in the city or something. It's not like we have sirens that go through our neighborhood very often. They heard you. The jig is out.
Sorry, y'all.
Sorry.
I actually have nothing. I'm clean. I'm totally clean.
As you're holding a bowl.
Hey, this is legal.
True. In your own home.
I have the adequate amount for a household to be housed here. I don't have a doctor's note. Okay, we'll cut all that out. As like they're like asking these questions about, oh, well, she was just a baby, but you didn't mean to bond her that young.
Mm-hmm. They also say Dragonkind has not learned, right? This kind of shows everything that they've said. You've proven the opposite. Like, we thought you were going to be, a measure of growth and humanity and tranquility, and you guys have all shown the opposite. You guys, and then they kind of turn to the dragons, and they're
Yeah.
like, they say dragonkind also has not learned. Atrum gifting your rider ice,
Ice.
Tarn gifting lightning, and Darna gifting something far more dangerous, is
Yeah.
what they say. Which at this point we don't even know what Violet has going on here.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. And Riddick, I like at the corner, he's like, "That's not how signets
That's
work."
not
But
exactly
they
it.
didn't gift us shit. It's totally different than that. You guys don't even know.
Comes out of need.
And
But
this
also,
is, and
why do
Darna's
we
like,
need such violent gifts?
right?
Society
There's a
needs
reason.
it. Yeah.
This was kind of Andarna's like last grab. Like peace requires an Orisha ward stone. That's why
Yeah.
we're coming to you. Like people will die, and they were like, maybe they should.
Maybe we need a clean slate.
Maybe we need a clean slate, and then that's when the dragon goes into the venom.
Yeah.
Right? Like basically, once a venom depletes the earth, and are starving, maybe they'll confront the abominations that they are.
Yeah.
And they'll change. And then that's when it's like, change. What? Can they change? Is there a
Yeah.
cure? So what's the cure? And they were like, maybe like their offspring will evolve, but there is no cure. They basically say they're not trading, it's not something you can get back, right? They're trading their souls, and you never get that back. The soul is not kept in the earth.
Yeah.
When you steal that magic, there's a power exchange that kills the soul, one piece at a time,
Yeah.
and death has no cure.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah. But then Xaden walks up.
And they immediately are just like, how could you be associated with that abomination?
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like they maybe kept the door open a little bit, but as soon as those dragons saw, they closed that door immediately.
Yeah. Xaden and Garrick are done with their flyovers, basically, right? So they're walking up, and I like how Riddick catches them up. He's like, what's going on here? He's like, they think Andarna's a weapon, which is somehow bad, and won't come help us because they think we all deserve to die because we can't solve mankind's oldest problem of how to stop killing each other.
Whoops.
And then they basically say they're disappointed in Andarna, and she's not allowed to come with them.
And they fly away.
And then that's
Andarna like runs away like a teenage girl and does a princess fall.
She does.
Crying.
And the one dragon that Violet said looked a little bit like Andarna, like the horns swirled the same, stayed and confirmed with Violet, like you said. Are you sure you didn't know she was a juvenile?
Yeah.
She's like, we had no idea.
Yeah. So Xaden really feels like he just ruined the whole mission.
He does.
The whole mission failed because of who he is.
Violet, I felt kind of bad for her this instant. She like looks at Xaden and she's like, "You're not an abomination." And he's like, "Leave me alone." And he blocks her out. And Darna is like crying, and she's like, "You're perfect." And she's like blocks her out too. It's like, "I don't want you."
And then her and the grumpy old man.
Yeah. Riddick right away turns to Violet and saw Xaden's eyes because when she looked at him, she looked over at, or when that one female dragon called Xaden an abomination, the red rings were around his eyes. And he demands to know the truth. So she gives him the short version, don't rat us out, everyone lands, and Riddick's like, he's like, the Irids are a bunch of assholes and they rejected Andarna. Like, that's what's going on right now. Everyone's like all pissed off because of that.
Yeah.
Hanging out, Riddick kind of looks at Violet and is like, we got some talking to do.
Yeah.
Why don't we go over here? I think did they go like up a hill or something like that?
I just pictured them actually walking into a forest with like a lake by them while they did this.
No,
that might have just been making me, I pictured them next to water during this conversation.
Right.
I don't
That's
know
why
why.
I thought they like went up on a cliff maybe or something.
Who knows?
Like a beach.
It's a mystery for
all of us. You know what
I
think it is? It's because when they landed and they thought the sand was black. I've only been to like that Hawaii black sand beach, so I just like pictured that place.
Yeah.
So I just like went up on that cliff over there. Anyways, I'm on a cliff. Marissa's in trees. You guys can be wherever the hell you want. But Riddick and Violet go where nobody can see them.
Maybe by some water, because both of us have water in the picture. Possibly by water.
Well, no, we're on a beach. Marissa thinks it's a lake for some fucking weird reason. They're in the middle of the ocean. They're on an island.
Islands can have trees. I
Marissa
said
went
next
into
to
the trees.
trees.
Yeah, Marissa's on flat land.
I didn't say forest.
I climbed
an
small
evergreen
cliff.
forest with snow covered.
You know what? You walk into trees. I'm gonna scale a mountain real quick. All right, they're.
You made them do a lot of work for this private conversation.
Listen.
Looking out into the ocean off of a cliff.
Either way, they got a plan, and Riddick's like, I'm ready to talk. Let's go. So Riddick very much listens and asks like very valid questions.
Yeah.
So in this whole thing back and forth, I will say though, he's like, what the fuck, Violet? She's like, it wasn't my secret to tell. And he had a lot of really good points. He's like, he's fucking powerful. He's a duke. He sits on the cenarium.
Yeah.
He could deliver all of us on a silver platter.
Yeah.
And she's like, but he's not. He's still Xaden. And he's like, he's not him. Yeah. Though. Like, he's not a danger. He's not him either, though. Like, he's neither one of those.
Did you not hear that lady say that eventually every bit of his soul will be gone?
And they all know this, right? Yes. Like, they all know from Venom. And then Riddick puts together, that's why you stepped in between the two of us that last time when he was all pissed off. Like, he was
He's
losing
not
it.
him. That's proof that
he's not him. Skating on the ice, right? He has the most powerful dragon. Like, he just keeps bringing all of these points. The big thing that I thought kind of turned Riddick a little bit is Violet was like, I've lost Liam, I've lost Traeger, which, let's keep it real, she never talked about Traeger, but she does bring him up right now. I'm like, I feel like you're using that one. I lost my mom in this war. I will not lose the man I love, Riddick.
I will die for you.
And then lightning strikes on a tree. Yeah. And it like falls in front of him, doesn't it? And Riddick's like, what the...
You're not supposed to have that much power, brah.
Chill. And he goes, now Ryerson's really going to kill me. So Riddick tells her, I'm going to keep your secret and I'm going to help you find a cure if you can give me a solid line of when you will walk away.
I love this, by the way. This is the perfect boundary to set as a friend. Like, you can make your own decisions, but give me that line. You need to think this through to the point of eventually there's some point I have to kill him because he's not going to follow through.
He's at this point just saying when you'll walk away. We both know it's going to happen.
It has. Yes.
So when will it be? You know, how long does he have till he's an ASIM? Do we even know? And that's when she finds out he's wielded or pulled from the ground like 3 times. He's like, 3 times!
Yeah.
So Violet...
Which even Jack was only did it twice,
that we
right?
know of. We have no idea. He's been pulling... Well, he's to the point that he'll die if he doesn't. So he's pulling a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Violet does, I think, get vulnerable about him for the first time here, where she does admit that, no, we have to find a cure because if he fully turns... we are all fucked. He's powerful as hell.
Yeah.
Like, so him as a Venom? Are you kidding me? No, we have to do that. So then finally, Violet's struggling. There is no point.
Yeah.
That she wouldn't pull from the earth for him. She wouldn't do anything. So then Riddick finally says, then pick a line where I can turn on him.
Yeah.
You don't even have to make the decision. I'll make it for you. And so Violet finally says, if he kills another rider without cause, hurts his friends, my dragon, or me, he's not him anymore. Yeah. And then I did love how Riddick, he was empathetic and sweet, but also hard. Yeah. And he told them, if you aren't stop this lying shit. We already said we weren't going to do this anymore. Stop doing it.
It's dangerous everybody not to have the information they need to know.
He said to her, if you aren't telling us something because you don't want us to lose our shit on you, then maybe you need shit lost on you. Uh-huh. Fair enough.
So either stop doing it or fess up.
Yes.
Which is a really great parenting technique.
Yeah, and he already told her, I'm here for you. I will follow you. I will defend you. I will keep your secret. I will help you find a cure.
I will help you until we get to that line.
But this is my boundary.
But that's the line.
Yeah, this is my boundary for you too.
Yes.
Because I know you can't set it for yourself.
Yes.
Because you love him. I love Riddick.
Yeah, he's a really good friend.
So they get back down. They get in front of Xaden. Riddick says, not to Violet. Didn't tell this to Violet. Tells to Xaden. She gets to tell Rhys Sawyer and Jasenia. Yeah. Everyone who knows right now values your life over her life. And Xaden's like, everyone who knows right now, including me, has told her to run for the hills. And he's like, good to know. But they all need to know. And he's like, not Atos. And I like how Riddick was like, listen, no, not Atos. I'm proud of him.
Yeah.
But I don't think he can cross these kinds of rules yet. He doesn't need to know. Just Ree Sawyer, Jacinia, and myself.
And Violet, even in the background, was like, no, we already made a deal. And he's like, that deal was between me and you.
Yeah.
This deal is between me and Zayden.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And he's tough about it. And then I did like how Riddick's like, that lightning, it wasn't what it's not what you think. I just want you to know it's not that kind of lightning. And he's like, I know, the strike wasn't big enough yet. And I like how Riddick was like, we are not cracking dick jokes yet. You are not going to pull me in with humor.
We are not that
I
close
won't do it
right now. I'm still mad.
He wanted to laugh though. He wanted a joke, and he's like, "No, I will not do a dick joke, a dick joke,
or a Rick joke. Either one."
He also tells Riddick, "I've been making sure she can kill me, and if it's between her or me, kill that other guy. Become fuck him."
So the mission failed. / they did get some help and trade routes opened and yada 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 yada. So, but they're also going to face treason going back because of the fact that they've been gone for so long.
A while.
So they start flying back. It takes them 10 days to get back to Deverelli.
Yeah, so they're not even back yet.
Yeah, and they actually don't see any wyvern on their way back, which is weird. And they're like, okay, is that a good sign or is that a bad sign?
Violet's nervous.
Yeah.
If Violet's nervous, I'm nervous.
Yeah, but they decide to like stay just out of reach from Basgiath just to have that one more day before they get court-martialed.
Yeah.
And
they were questioned, and in the questioning, she found out, like, they let it slip that King Tari had pardoned all of them.
Yeah.
For disobeying orders because he was just so glad that Cam was found.
Yeah. So Arik's back. So he's like, okay,
so
I'll let Arik. Yeah, which I wonder if Arik advocated for them and was just like, okay,
he's with them.
Oh yeah, duh. So he's
Maybe
part
Halden
of the treason.
Did,
no, Halden wouldn't do that.
I think
he doesn't give a shit.
I think he would.
Okay.
I think he's like kind of like. No, Jurian's cooler. Kind of like Jurian though, right? Like I think like he's
good at heart, but he's just kind of a prick.
He's a soft hand, privileged baby boy, right?
I really, really don't like him. Really don't like him.
No, yeah, he epitomizes like douchebaggery.
Yeah.
He honestly, him as a character makes me feel bad for how mean I was about Dane last book.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Because it's like you think you're like, you stupid man telling me what to do. Yeah. And then you see a real prick who really has no empathy and doesn't care about anybody. And I'm like, oh, I thought that was you. It wasn't you. You're actually great, Dane.
I will also say we were always annoyed with Dane.
Yeah.
It was annoyance and like immaturity, and it wasn't like
I think the current climate of our country did not help Dane in his scenario. And I want to go on record right now as saying I was fine with Dane well before you were.
Well, okay.
As soon as Dane saw everything.
Yeah.
He switched and did not falter.
I agree. But I was still annoyed with him because he still hadn't grown. He started making better decisions because he had the full picture.
Yeah.
But he still wasn't grown. But
he wasn't even as bad as Tamlin.
Let's take this back to what you love.
500 years old.
I'm a Taurus because I know you love this.
Stubborn as fuck.
Stubborn.
Yeah.
But also, it's one of those things where
she still complains about Zayden not telling her everything.
It's one of those things where I do not like to feel manipulated or controlled.
True.
So
you're digging.
If a man in a story is trying to control someone, it triggers me.
Yeah, that makes sense actually.
Yeah.
Me too, but you do that for sure. Like you dig in.
I dig in even harder if I'm feeling manipulated.
Now you have to prove it 110% for me to come back.
Dig out of that hole, MFer.
I'm okay with that. I actually support that.
Perfect. Okay. So they also find out
after they get out of questioning, General Atos comes up to Violet.
Yeah. So Atos comes up and is again the
I
sniveling
think you have
like
to say that like Atos.
fucking Atos.
Fucking Atos.
Fucking Atos.
Yeah.
He actually gives Violet a missive.
Yeah.
And it is from
Theophany.
Theophany. And so she saw them flying over.
Yeah, it's like a condescending, like, oh, you should have stopped. And I
Yeah.
had tea and crumpets when you were flying over Penvis.
But also, how did the missive get within the wards?
That's what's all crazy.
And yes, so she's got reach. She's basically just flaunting the fact that she has reach.
Yeah.
But Atos also tells them that Suniva fell to the Dark Wielders,
Yep.
and Queen Maria, is that it?
Yeah.
Maria is dead. So Takaris is now king.
Yep. Cat's uncle.
Cat is
next in line
for the throne.
Damn.
And he says it in such a snivelly way, like he doesn't say that the queen is dead. He just says you're one step closer to the throne.
Well, no, he was.
So she didn't know if Takaris had died.
He was fucking with Cat.
Yeah.
He was like painfully dragging out the information.
Oh gosh.
Making it seem like you didn't know who died. You didn't know what happened. He's such an asshole.
Yeah.
I felt bad for Cat.
Agreed.
Which I am going to say, when he was doing this, though, I was like, Serena hasn't been in this book at all. And I really liked her.
Yeah.
Where has Serena been?
I don't know.
Bring back Serena.
I was actually, for a while there, like worried that did she die and we don't know.
Well, I thought he was going to say she died. And I was like, that was really going to piss me off. But now I think you need to bring Serena back in a big way.
Yeah.
And then maybe kill her off. I don't know if it means you're not going to kill off
Who knows?
one of the other people I love.
I will also say that Andarna drove straight to the Vale and like went to her room and didn't talk to anybody.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Right when they came in, she went straight to the Vale. Yeah.
And she's like still block with she won't talk to Violet. Yeah. And the squad gets back together, the Rebel Squad. And so they like catch him up on the fact that we lost Traeger. And we failed.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so Atos is kind of a jerk, but they're pardoned. So yay. Mm-hmm. And now they're back in class, which just feels so weird after they went on this huge journey that they're still students in this college. Not even last year. Yeah. Like they're in their second year.
Right.
So they're also like really behind. She's like, in physics today, it's way over my head. I have no idea what they're talking about. The runes
get her every time.
Well, yeah, she talks about how her runes are like, she's not very good at runes.
Right.
Yeah. Not her strong suit, but anyway.
I kind of like for everybody else that she's shitty at something.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And
because I like that she's the most powerful, being the smallest and like frail, your whole life. I love that analogy right there. And I also love that she's smart, but she's got to suck at something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you suck at something, it's joints and weaving.
Well, and I kind of like that like, Kat's really good at it. So I think it was able to like give them that connection. Anyways.
That connection or that like push-pull, hatred, drama.
I love their friendship, though. I think I really just like Kat.
Think Kat would put parentheses around that friendship. that's Kat would air quote that.
She would never admit she's friends with her.
Okay. So anyway, they're in battle brief, and they find out that like 6 crates of like the alloy daggers,
daggers
were actually stolen. And that's like way more than ever is in one place.
It's like
so it was at a trading post.
Yeah, I didn't realize that, but that's when they were talking about it. It's like, oh, that's way more than we would ever need, and
exactly.
It was taken.
And so
how would they know?
How they do this battle brief stuff all the time is the students just kind of walk through the logic and try to strategically figure it out. Yeah. And it got to the point where we find out the reason there's so many there is because there was going to be a 1-night layover for 2 shipments at one time.
Right.
And so it got to the point where Violet, again, I feel like Violet's always got the aha crazy thing.
Yeah.
And she gets called on right at the 10th hour. But she realizes that, okay, we have a mole. There's somebody within our
They would have
arena.
had to know that that was the time to strike.
Yeah, because it was only going to be there like for 12 hours.
Yeah.
It was like overnight.
And then, so how did they even get to Sunvia,
I guess.
Sunvia undetected?
Yeah.
And it was like, well, all the patrols were grounded because there was a storm.
Yeah. Oh, and there was 25,000 lives lost. That's like, because this is like the third biggest city.
Yeah, so it was huge. How did they get there? Well, all patrols were grounded because there was a storm. Well, that doesn't make sense because you can't fly in a storm.
No.
And it's like, no, they figured out that Theophany flew them in the storm. So was able to like wield enough for that to happen.
So they said she has to be a maven.
She has to be a maven.
Yeah, there's no other way. Which maven is the top, right? So how does the hierarchy go again? Do you remember?
There's a sage.
Sage is like a captain
Teacher.
or general.
Yeah. There was something and then maven.
ASIM.
ASIM is, no, it's the initiate, ASIM.
Initiate, ASIM.
Sage.
Sage, maven.
There's something in between maven and sage.
So maven is 2 levels above sage. Maybe.
Or there's something above maven. We could probably Google it.
Okay, you Google it.
You are correct. There are only 4.
Yes.
Initiates, ASIM, sage, maven.
Can you just say that first sentence again?
You are correct.
Can you just...
Marisa.
Perfect. I'm going to just put that on repeat.
You're correct. You're correct. You're correct. Initiate, ASIM, sage, maven.
I hope you know I'm going to cut that and that's just going to be your ringtone.
You're correct. You're correct.
Okay.
It is time for Riddick to cash in on his boundaries.
Yes.
He set with Violet and Xaden.
Yes. So Jacinia actually in this interaction gives her a package, which is kind of awkward. But she takes the package.
But she's like, hey, I got this before. Fucking Atos. Opened it because he opens all your mail. FYI.
Yeah. And evidently it's like lingerie.
It's from a seamstress in Shintara.
Okay.
So we don't know it's lingerie yet, but it's pretty obvious. It's probably that Devilary silk or whatever.
So it was Valentine's Day.
Apparently.
Okay. I don't know. I just thought that was very, what is Frost and Starlight of her?
But aren't you glad it was a line instead of a whole book?
Yes, but even the line didn't need to be there.
Well, we know that it's setting up for a future scene. Spoiler alert.
Why do you always spoiler alert? That's not in this. Oh, wait, no. Is it? This is in this episode.
It is.
Okay. So that's fine. You can spoil.
Ha ha ha.
This is what we call foreshadowing. See, what we need to do if it's in the same episode, that's just foreshadowing.
Oh, yeah. It's just foreshadowing, Marissa.
Perfect. I'll just cut out everything I said of making fun of you and I'll splice it to you just saying, that's foreshadowing, Marissa. Okay, back to the story. Sorry. Okay. So Violet tells them that Xaden is slowly like turning Venom.
And I like how Ree's like,
talk. Like, and she just tells them everything.
We don't even hear it.
No.
It just pans to the next chapter.
Yeah.
But Ree's just like, talk. Because you know why we don't hear it?
Why?
Because we know how the Core 4 is going to react.
Yeah.
Right? We know that they're going to just be like, okay, what do we do now?
Yeah. And especially the end of the story is Riddick made me draw a line, and so here's the line.
Yeah.
And so now all of them are like, okay, we can get on board.
Yeah.
We can get on board. That's a good line because that means if he tries to kill me, then you'll kill him before he does.
Exactly.
So we're protected. So Violet actually gives Xaden a cuff.
Yeah, I think she has another nightmare that night.
Okay.
And it's she won't submit to the sage, and she has the sword of Tyrandor, and she like gets herself out of it.
Yeah.
Right, by that. And when they're up and talking, Violet's like, I have something for you.
Yeah.
And she gives Xaden, like, what did she give him? A cuff.
Yes.
A bracelet.
So they each gave each other a little present.
I mean, hers was
maybe it is Valentine's Day.
Hers was a little more thoughtful.
Well,
do you remember what it was? I thought it was really cool. It was a piece of the turret.
Yeah.
Which isn't that just like a ledge?
No, that's like the top of the like spiral building. The turret is at the very top.
But they sit on it.
Yeah, it's like the roof. It's sitting on a roof of a castle.
It's like, so it's a piece of like cement.
Whatever the roof is made out of, shingles.
With a piece with shingles. She gave him a bracelet with a piece of the shingle so that when things get rough, he can imagine them sitting there together when this is all over.
Can you give me a gift of shingles someday?
I mean, it's thoughtful.
I actually have some leftover shingles in my... I'm going to make you a bracelet for next Valentine's Day.
Take the lingerie. Thanks.
That's even weirder. My sister got me lingerie for Valentine's Day.
I also don't want to wear your shingle, okay? She gave him a bracelet with shingles on it. And he tells her, I love you, but you should run. She says, come find me when you realize I never fucking will.
Gotcha, punk.
I did like how she kind of walked away and she's like, listen, get out of here.
Yes.
He tells her, at this point too, it's been 47 days since he last channeled.
He's going to get a chip.
Which was he is going to get a chip. It was in the Isles, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So she's like, do you have a number in mind on when you're going to like reach stability? He's like, I do, but he didn't tell her.
No, he likes to keep
That's
it
for me to know,
tight.
For you to never know.
Yeah.
Felix walks up, though, and interrupts them and tells Xaden that 2 wyvern have come through the wards at Orisha. And by the way Xaden reacts, Violet's like, okay, this isn't the first time.
Yeah.
And they made it an hour in. I didn't realize the wards even went that big. But basically, it's way farther than they ever have before.
Yeah.
And the wards are failing.
So like, the wyvern are just testing it.
Oh, for sure. For sure. So we pan again back to class. The Iron Squad is talking about how they have their
Orisha.
Thank you. Their Orisha tour.
Yeah.
Is that what they're calling it? What is
just to remind everyone, they all have classes at Basgiath, but the teacher for runes refuses to be at Basgiath.
Yeah.
So they have to rotate and do like a 2-week intensive every like
at Orisha.
Every like 2 months or something like that. Every semester they have a 2-week. That is so funny.
I love it. And then parts the staff that's going with them are Kaori, Felix, and Panchek are going with them.
Which is a pretty high powered
It
team.
is. I mean, the only reason I mention it is basically because Violet was like, I know why Kaori's going, and she ain't fucking talking to him.
No.
Because Andarna is still, I think she's talking to Violet a little bit at this point, but she's pretty much blocking her out and is sad, and Violet's very worried about her.
Xaden has been blocking her out.
Yes.
Seagal doesn't talk to her because Seagal kind of thinks she's annoying.
Yeah.
And so all she has is the grumpy old man.
And her friends. They are kind of waiting outside, and as they come walking up, I did find it very interesting that she said Arc's eyes got wide and he pulled Linux, one of the other first years, or Lynx, pulled Lynx back, one of the other first years, right before the door is like barrel open, and coming out is basically the war council like arguing. Mm-hmm. And so you just hear fucking Atos, I forbid it! You know, you are endangering our people! Da da da. So Lewin, is that how you say his name? Llewellyn, who basically stands in for Xaden, is arguing back and forth. Xaden is also there. Yeah. But she hasn't seen him in a good amount of time, but he's there. Basically, Halden is yelling at Xaden because Xaden's going to open his borders. Yeah. And Halden's like, you can't. It does this. Da, da, da. They are weeks away from Drathis, another massive Promeal city, being attacked. So he's like, Turandor will open our borders to any
Paromish.
I'm sorry.
Any Paromish citizen that can walk that trail can be in my city.
So Halden, this is where you really didn't like him, wasn't it? He was like, well, maybe I'll bring my troops to Turandor. And everyone's like pauses and like the shadows like kind of, get all shadowy. And Violet's like, get off the ice, mind to mind, because she can tell Xaden is pissed. Yeah. And then Halden looks at Cam, calls him Cam. You gonna let this happen? And he's like, my name's Eric. Arik. Yeah. My name's Arctic and I'm with him. Yeah. Which is interesting because he hates Xaden.
Well, and he's like, I'm an Orishan rider.
Yeah.
I'm not under your
I'm with him.
jurisdiction. I'm over here.
And that's not my name. Stop dead naming me. Then Halden's like, you've been warned. And Zayden's like, you've been informed. Like they're doing their little back and forth. Just then, Lynx starts like shaking and shadows start billowing all around him. He's freaking out. Zayden gets like right in his face and is like, you're manifesting. You're manifesting. And he like coaches him through it. He's like, the shadows are attached to your fear. And do this and do this. Leveling out his emotions. Yeah. Like they're protecting you. They're protecting you. Like you're scared. Like level out your emotions. So he gets it under control and he's like, get him to car right now. Violet's like, you're this generation shadow wielder. And that's when I realized I didn't know there was only one.
Yeah.
But here,
one for every 1,000 years.
I knew it was rare, but I was like, oh, maybe they're just in rare times, so they're getting like more powerful people.
That's true. No, it could be,
but it's
Zayden
not. Said not anymore. He's the balance. The magic
He's
knows.
the response to me.
To him.
Me turning venom.
So right then he's separating himself again. I have to go. He tells her that fucking Atos asked him to resign due to his extended absences for provincial matters. I thought of Belle. Provincial means. And after seeing that, I probably should get the hell away from here. I probably need to get out of here. For once, Violet like actually agrees with him. Yeah. On this one, I for once. Sorry, that was my note. Violet tells him he can't leave.
Yeah, don't give up.
You can't give up. You can't give up. He tells her you need to accept what I already have.
Yeah.
Oh, the man you love is no longer fully belongs to himself.
Which means he is giving up.
Yeah. I did find it interesting that when Zayden walks away, Llewellyn was like trying to give her advice more as like a consort. Mm-hmm. You know, like it's just hard, you know. Yeah. He's going to be pulled away a lot.
Powerful men.
Yeah. And
powerful men.
It was to the point that I couldn't tell if Llewellyn didn't know and just happened to be speaking to her in terms that he didn't understand, or if he really did know. Because there were times when I'm like, oh, he doesn't even realize. And then he would say stuff and I was kind of like, maybe he does realize. I don't know. But he kind of gave her exactly the advice she needed to hear, in all honesty.
I don't think he knows. No? I don't trust him.
So many people we trust and we don't trust. Then we pan to Sawyer asking Violet for help. So she meets him in the flight field, and he has a new leg with like this claw type foot, or a claw coming off like the foot part that will be able to like latch on to how do you say it? Sleeg's scales, because he keeps slipping off the scales and can't mount Sleeg at all. So he asked Violet there to help test it out because he wants her advice and everything like that.
You know what I thought about here?
Yeah.
How to Train Your Dragon.
Yes.
Remember? Because he has lost his leg.
Right.
And he built like this claw leg thing.
Yeah. Did he have to mount stuff?
I mean, you have to. Have you never mounted a dragon? This is embarrassing for you. How many dragon shows and movies have you watched? I don't have a lot of
flight hours. I don't have enough flight hours. What I found endearing, right? We've gotten in this whole book, I think, to see more about other people's dragon rider relationships.
Which I love.
I do too.
Yes.
I do too. It makes me keep like being excited for the show to come out because I want to see this like acted out on a screen.
Yes. Which, how disappointed if you don't see dragon personalities are you going to be? Like, how are they going to do it?
I won't watch it.
Yeah. Because it'll be
that's this whole world. Yeah. That's what makes it different than everything else. Is like who
I feel like Taryn's voice is going to be very important for me. And if they voice cast him incorrectly, I'm going to have a hard time with it.
I'm going to have to hear Morgan Freeman's voice. That's it.
Variations of the Freeman.
It's going to have to be him.
Like, and what kind of accent? Like, what if he has like a British accent?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you, listening to
Scottish accent,
the audiobook, how the Paromish people all have like an accent.
Yeah, it's so new. But it makes sense. It's a different region.
It does, but they have like a snooty accent, and I don't like it. That's not how I imagined it.
They have a British accent.
I was trying not to say that.
We have listeners from the UK. You can't say that.
They know.
You want to know how many?
You want to know? You want to know why I know they know? Because they
how
think
do you know they know we know?
Because they know their accents better.
Yeah, they do.
Exactly.
Okay, we have 36 listeners from Canada.
Oh,
21 from Switzerland.
Hello.
12 from Guatemala.
Nice.
3 from Ireland.
Nice.
2 from France. 2 from England.
Oh.
So you only offended 2 people.
Those of you from Ireland, I'm really sorry how we pronounce all these names because they're all Gaelic. Apparently, and I know we're pronouncing them wrong. And I'll be honest with you, I've even watched videos on how to pronounce the dragon
and
names.
It's just still...
my brain just doesn't work that way.
Okay, I will also say...
It's so complex, I feel like.
I have such a hard time with languages.
Yeah,
and it's like too. I always feel like that Friends episode where... I forget if it was Phoebe teaching...
I think it was Joey French, yeah.
Yeah, so Phoebe was trying to teach Joey French.
Yes.
I think that's what it was. Yes. And Phoebe would say like, Je m'appelle Marissa.
Je
m'appelle. And he'd be like, Sabrani. And I feel like that, and I feel like that's how I am.
Yes.
I cannot connect the sounds
I need to like type it phonetically and just sound it out each time.
Okay, let's make a pact
I'm not making any promises I can't keep. My brain... And you know the basis of our podcast, right, Marissa? Like, no.
Well, so for me...
On this big whiteboard right here, let's... Schlig. Whatever it is.
I get very ambitious when I smoke.
I even say Tarn's name wrong every other freaking time.
Nicole, I get very ambitious when I smoke.
Okay, well, we're just going to cut you off.
That's how we came up with the podcast idea, and then now...
Sound effects.
This is called scope creep. Excuse me, you get your sound career. Can I not have my language?
What do you want to do, Marissa?
I want us to try to do like Babbel or something and learn a different language. Too ambitious, too big of a scope creep. Okay.
I think you are overestimating my brain capacity.
Fair feedback.
I got a D in Spanish.
I take it back already.
Any of you out there listening, if English is your second language, just know that I think you probably have a superpower.
I want my brain to work like that so hard.
Language as a second language?
I can't imagine.
It's stupid. None of it makes sense. I've been speaking it my whole life, and I don't even do it well.
Well, and I feel like this also transitions. I tried to like learn to teach myself how to play the piano, and I never learned how to like read notes or anything.
Yeah.
That's learning a whole different language too.
Yeah.
And my brain explodes.
Even Sawyer picking up sign language. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Can I get my brain to do that?
On topic.
Maybe smoke less weed. That's how you get your brain
getting
to do
back
that.
to
Sleeg
and Sawyer's relationship. They had similar disagreements as Violet and Tarn, where he feels bad. He feels bad. He feels like he doesn't want her to have... Is it a her? We're just going to call her a her. I think most of these dragons are hers unless told otherwise. She's given female energy. Female energy. But basically he says, I don't want to dishonor you that way. And Violet asked Tarn, is that how you feel about like dipping your shoulder to me?
Yeah.
And he's like, I am the seventh British blah, 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 blah. And like goes on his like how I'm the coolest and baddest dragon ever. And she's like, yeah. But you didn't have to do that with Naolan. And he's like, again, we do not speak of the one who came before. Well,
and I love in all of these periods of like self-consciousness that Violet has, he always responds with, I picked you for you. Yeah. You can't dictate what I revere as good or bad.
You know, though, you wonder why she doesn't accept it, because he tells her that not in the empathetic HR way you just did. He tells her like, you dumb ass, I picked you. Of course you're the best.
I'm going to make...
Why are you so stupid?
A chat GPT. I'm going to make a GPT of like a Marissa translator.
Yes.
And we can put whatever we want in it, and it'll translate it in how Marissa would speak it in HR.
Oh, that's good. That'd be really good,
Or
especially for mine.
should we, and I can make a reverse one where I say something and then
it
you're like,
becomes mine. Oh my gosh. We'd have a whole episode on that.
okay, see, this is an ambition scope creep that's okay. Learning a different language, too big. This one's okay. This will be my next
because
hobby.
there's humor involved.
And I can do it quick and then move on. That's my ADHD.
Anyways, so Sawyer does
So
a little
sorry.
thing. And it's okay. These are funny. Sawyer does like a little thing, slips. Violet tells him, and I can't quite picture it again. So he like tells her to like, can you kick it out, like the claw thing,
Yeah.
right out at the right time, giving you the amount of time to be able to do it. And he's like, yeah, I think I can.
Mm-hmm.
Does it? Violet can hear. I think Tarn tells her that your friends are approaching.
Yeah.
So he's running to go do it. She knows that they can see him.
Yeah.
As they're walking up, but he can't.
Yeah.
Sawyer's able to mount, and I love that he just gets up there and he's like, it feels good.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can ride. And she's like,
Yeah.
you can ride.
He's going to Arisha with everyone.
Right as everybody else walks up and they're all like, yeah, way to go. Da,
Yeah.
da, da.
So when Sawyer like gets up top and everything like that, Ree comes walking up and she's like, oh, I'm so happy. And Ree was also like, I wish he would come to me and do this. And Violet looks.
She said she failed.
Yeah, I failed. I should have been the one to help him figure this out. And Violet tells her, you're our leader. Yes, you are our friend.
Yeah.
But you are a leader, and we never want to fail in front of you.
Right.
We will always do that. And that's a sign of respect, not
Right.
distance. Like
Exactly.
she verbalized it very well.
When you have to be the manager of your peers.
Yes.
You know, there's a little awkward time and then it works itself out.
Yeah.
Right after that, Violet turns to Andarna and is like, you can grieve.
Yeah.
You're allowed to grieve.
Yeah.
And Andarna's kind of like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to grieve. Like, she's like,
With her sassy.
But you can, like, I can be there for you. You can
Yeah.
show your grief. It's okay. And Andarna's like, you don't show your grief.
He doesn't show his grief.
He doesn't show his grief. And she's like, that's actually a pretty fair.
Yeah.
It's a pretty fair point, actually. You're right, we don't. We're not very good role models. We're all going to go to therapy.
Yeah.
Group family therapy. They then are on their way to Arisha. As soon as they land, Ree and Marin are talking about how they're going to go visit Ree's parents.
Yeah.
Because Marin's brothers are there, right?
Yeah.
They ask Kat if she wants to go, and she's like, yeah, I'd love to see those little shits. No, probably, yeah, let's do it.
See, that's something we would put through the
HR
Nicole
translator?
translator. Like,
Oh.
that's
Well, me and Kat are kind of the same person, so.
so my interpretation of that is like Kat said she would go too.
Oh, no, I was like, yeah, I'll go see those little shits. That's fine. Violet, you want to come? Yeah, I'll come too. And then Riddick's like, me and Sawyer are coming too. So she's basically like, all right, let's meet back down here, 40 minutes. You know, wash yourself or my mom's going to kick you out if you smell like sulfur.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. She will do it too. Going back to the rooms, Violet kind of pauses because she's like not sure where to go.
Oh,
And I love how Bodhi's like, what the fuck you doing?
quit being dramatic, man.
Like, go to your room. She's like, I don't know if it's my room. And he's
It's
so
Zayden's
brooding.
room,
And
not
he's like,
my room.
it's your room. He's only going to brood more if you don't go in there.
Which the funny thing in all of this, so you were all like drama before.
Uh-huh.
This to me just feels like drama for drama's sake.
I agree.
Because he just is depressed because he found out that it's has a progressive terminal illness.
And
she's
he
like,
could murder you.
he's sad. So like, should I go bunk up with Ree or like something? It's like,
and I
no,
like how
you're still dating.
Bodhi just goes, we're home.
Yeah.
Bye. Act like it. Okay.
You told him you love him. Did that change?
Yeah.
Because he's just sad.
I don't know what room to go to.
Should I?
And Bodhi's like, cut the shit. Go to your room. So she's in the room and she's like, oh, everything's where I left it. Look at my shitty ass runes over there. Look at this. And then Brennan knocks on the door. And he's like, pull me in. He messed with the wards last time. She's like, of course he did. Pulls him in. Brennan like hugs her right away. And he's just like broken essentially and says he can't mend him. We've tried everything. He must be farther along than Jack was. I've tried. We've done offerings to the gods. We've pushed magic back into the earth. He sent a letter yesterday that he wants to try mending those different spots at Basgiath that he pulled. And she starts smiling. And he's like, "Are you smiling? Like, this isn't funny. This is serious." And she's like, "I'm smiling because it means he hasn't given up."
Yeah.
You said yesterday he was still working on all of
Yeah.
this. He hasn't given up because last time he left, he was like, "You need to accept this. I already have." You know? So he's not giving up. He's fighting. The next night, it's storming. She's sitting there in her nice little lingerie is basically see-through.
This is where you took the video. This scene is where you took the video.
This scene is where I took the video.
So this was a very awkward scene.
It was a very awkward scene. I only have a couple bullet points on it, so we're going to be okay. But we
listened to it at 2x, and it was so...
I think you even upped it from that, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah. We'll post it on IG at some point.
Well...
We'll see. I'll let Marissa watch it. It's fine. I think I'll post it. Okay. So she hears another knock at her door, and she's like, either it's Ree wanting to girl chat, or it's my brother, and this is pretty much see-through. Let me put a robe on. Mm-hmm. And as soon as she puts the robe on, she like feels that like Onyx chill is what she calls it now that he's feminine. So she like opens the door without it like putting a robe together.
Yeah. Oh.
And Xaden is standing there soaked to the bone, and he's like, "Tell me to go and I will." She's like, "Why the fuck would I tell you to go?
Dude.
Get in here."
So
he's
both
like,
of them were being dramatic.
Days. It's been 73 days. Tell me to go and I will.
I feel like that's like both of them sacrificing to sleep on the couch, and then they both just sleep on a different couch and nobody sleeps in the bedroom because they're both being so noble.
So she pulls him through, and he kisses her right away, and blah, 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 good kiss.
Don't do that. Okay, you're done with sound effects. That was too... No, don't.
So he starts to explain to her what was going on, and she's like, "You flew 9 hours in the wrong direction? Well, the fuck aware." We hear well the fuck aware a couple of times.
Which I love that. That's my favorite freaking line. That's better than Farah, darling.
I'm not gonna lie,
in my
it's
mind.
a little overused. I feel like Rebecca found out that she's never gonna want us to interview her if I keep talking shit about her. Yeah, I'm sorry, Rebecca.
This is why she delayed your book.
I feel like it was a great fucking line in Fourth Wing, and then you were writing Iron Flame and didn't put it in there, and then found out everybody online thought it was the best line ever, and then you put it like 4 or 5 times in Onyx Storm.
Okay. I feel like you just told Rebecca Yaros that she should stop trying to make fetch happen.
No, I like fetch. You can make fetch happen. But I know what you did, is what I'm saying. I know you're trying to make fetch happen. That's what I'm saying.
You mean she leaned in?
She made fetch happen. How about that? You made fetch happen, is what actually happened.
Yeah.
Well, the fuck
say
aware.
It more.
The fuck aware. So Xaden tells her basically he was pissed in an argument with Llewellyn and somebody else. And he was skating on that mental ice, and he held his shit together, and instead of punching them, he was able to react calmly.
Yeah.
And they were beyond the wards. They weren't within the wards, and he was able to keep it together. So he knew he was ready. And he told her the number in his head that he alluded to last time was 76, which is twice as long as Barlow went after he had done a major channel like that.
Yeah.
Seagull is the one who changed course.
Yeah.
Once he kept control and went 9 hours.
Yeah, she's like, "Hey, we're close enough. I miss my man."
Yeah. And she's like, "I'll wait if you want to wait." And he's like, "No more waiting." So I took a couple of notes. We can fade
and
the
I'm
black.
Gonna put my headphones on and go la 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 la.
No, I took Marissa approved notes. It's fine. One thing was he kept asking her where she wanted her weapons. What weapons do you have on you? Do you want to keep those on? Do you want to keep them close? And she's like, "What the hell are you doing? Give me my conduit and get your ass over here." And he's like, "No conduit." And she's like, "You want me at full power in case something."
No, I think he wanted her at full power.
Why'd you have to make it creepy? Your husband did up.
I'm uncomfortable, and this is how I.
That's what your husband does when people are uncomfortable. He like makes it more uncomfortable.
I know This is 15 years. This is what 15 years gets you.
The other one I have here is, "What are you doing?" And he says, "Worshipping." Dramatic pause.
Okay, we don't need that long of a pause.
Fade to black. Then Violet's gotten hers. Mm-hmm. She wants Xaden to get his, and he won't do it. And she's like, "Let go." And she shoves all of her like good feelings like those kind of good feelings, down the bond and tips those damn scales.
Yeah, that was...
And he does.
That was some great mind work.
And he was really nervous. He wouldn't touch her. He was touching the headboard again.
Yeah.
That damn headboard. Ooh. That would go on eBay for some cash. There's not even a fingerprint.
Yeah.
Not one. And she goes, "You're stable." And he's like, "I'm stable."
He can do it now.
He can lose control.
Yeah.
Lose. You can't see my air quotes. Lose control.
So you could also read this as, okay, she was over it and was like, "I got mine. You need to finish quickly." And just like, psh.
I mean, that's not what she was saying.
But that's maybe what she was thinking.
No, I think
maybe
that's,
she
I think
was
that's
like,
what a married, I think that's what
I'm
a married,
ready to go to bed.
I think that's what a married mom of 3 would be thinking. You got to remember, she's 21.
You know, so actually, when this part was happening, when I was uncomfortable, I actually thought in my head that Amy Schumer movie, he went down on her and she like came and then just like, it was like a sneeze and then she instantly fell asleep. I thought that in my head as this was happening to think like, wouldn't that be? And I chuckled out loud. That's how I handled listening to this out loud.
That's a married mom of 3 right there. That is, she's 21 and obsessed with him and hasn't had sex in 73 days. No, hasn't had sex longer. He hasn't channeled in 73 days. It's been a minute. It's been a hot minute. Hey, can I go potty before you do the next part?
Oh, I thought that's what you told us. That's what she said to him before they cuddled.
Violet doesn't want a UTI.
So funny. So after this epic relationship-ish where they finally were able to fully consume each other. I don't know how to say it. Okay. They banged. They fell asleep. What else do you say? Okay. Getting back on track.
That's what I would say. I'm just surprised that you said it.
In the time, I'm actually...
And I don't feel like it was banging. I think it was love. I'm pretty sure they made love this time. There wasn't some shower scene or in the locker room. There was no...
Well,
I could do a lot of voiceovers right now, but none of that was happening.
If you're
and I just realized my parents are going to listen to this episode.
If you're really making love right, it always ends with... I'm totally cutting that out.
She's pretending like she's innocent this whole time.
No, actually, in this conversation, I built the GPT and that I just read the Nicole translator.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Is it calibrated too risque?
We need to do video. You guys can see my over-exaggerated wink.
And my fucking red face.
After their...
Okay. After coitus... I'm literally gonna cut everything before that out and just go straight to coitus. Okay. Excuse me. After the coitus.
Oh my god. Coitus.
Violet is sleeping and she has that same nightmare that she keeps having, which is her in the sage. The big difference in this time that she's doing it is she's no longer like watching and hovering from above. She's actually having this, she's in the body of the person having this argument with the sage. In the dream, she's like, I know it's a dream. I know it's a dream. And so she's like in it. She sees the hand and she really wants to draw from the ground. And she like stops herself. She's like, no, this is a dream. This is a dream. I need to stop.
Well,
wake up.
The relic tattoo, right? Like when she has that feeling and she's like, wait, that's not my tattoo. That's not my hand. Yeah.
So she wakes up.
Well, hold on. I think she has another realization here. And I'm only going to stop you to point this out because I think it might come into play later. She realizes also that she has to inflict pain in the dream to like wake herself up. So she uses the sword that you were saying.
Oh, I thought that was common knowledge because of Inside Out. Because remember, scaring is what wakes her up. Okay, I'll cut that out too. I'm making a lot of executive decisions live.
Future Marissa. Forget the Inside Out reference. Roll it back.
I'm kind of trying to fit into a new crowd.
The DreamWorks crowd.
DreamWorks.
Bum.
Okay. Anyway. Okay.
We're getting a little slap happy here.
I'm so sorry. I was so uncomfortable when you went into so much detail before. I'm blaming this on you. I just like smoked a whole thing by myself.
What detail? What detail?
Your 3 bullet points.
Worshipping?
Too much. Too much.
Worshipping.
Okay. Again, when I'm uncomfortable, I smoke now.
Wow.
I used to just evidently be uncomfortable. And
coming to you from
talk.
the Lit Sister. Anyways.
Okay. This is like, she wakes up and she looks over and Zayden's actually having a nightmare too.
Yeah.
And so she's like trying to wake him up. She starts a little bit more gently, but I feel like she gets to a point where she slaps him in the face to wake him up.
Get up!
Come on!
But he was like in pain.
Yeah, he had a face of like
the sage like choking him? Like he wasn't breathing.
He was like in a state of like his face was constantly just in anguish. She wakes him up. You know, are you okay? It was a dream. You're okay. She's like, it's okay. I had a dream too. And he's like, oh, tell me about your dream.
Well, and I also picture like they snuggle up.
Yeah.
Oh, tell me about your dream.
I actually pictured them sitting up, staring lovingly into each other's eyes and like
naked.
No, she still has her on. He probably just has boxers or boxer briefs. Okay, I'm going to cut that out too.
Future Marissa. We have got to stop.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Tell me about your dream, Violet.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, like, he's asking these, like, leading questions, like, oh, what happened here? And she's like, oh, no, you should, like, I used to, like, just see it, but this time I was in it differently. And she's like, I've had this multiple times, and just, like, explain it. And she even says to herself, like, wow, he's like really into this, but whatever's helping him get over his nightmare.
I seem to find it weird in the moments that Violet's like suddenly aloof. Like she wouldn't be picking up on all the... Okay. Anyways.
She's very smart, but sometimes your brain just needs to...
Post-coitus, we aren't our best.
We make very interesting decisions post-coitus. Okay. And she, like, he's talking to her and he actually says, I've had the same dream constantly and that's my dream.
Yeah.
And that's my hand.
You were and he says he has had the feeling that someone was there.
Yeah.
Watching.
Yeah.
And he wakes up.
And he's like, has this ever happened before? And she's like, no, never. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, no, like, seriously, think back. And she's like, I don't always remember my dreams.
Well, and then she all of a sudden remembers.
In Samara.
And she goes, what do you know about the fall of Cliffsbane? He goes, you dreamt about Cliffsbane?
She remembers, like, a nightmare with, like, this picture that she was going to get. And, you know, Kat was there and she was like, no, you've got to go save yourself. You're next in line.
Remember they were all in Samara because she woke up and told Rhea about it.
Yeah. And that's when Riddick was like, you're not as quiet as you think. So that's what I actually took from that scene. But now it's a callback and Zayden's like, I think you're a dream walker. Yeah. And she's like, wait, what do you mean? So this is her second signet. She can actually walk through dreams. And she's like, well, no, I would never mean to. I would like.
Well, she also was like, the Irid said to Andarna,
it's dangerous.
It's more powerful than lightning.
Yeah. How is that like, possible? I just walk like.
It is.
Because you can't have your shield up when you're out conscious, like when you're sleeping.
Right.
And she's like, well, I just observe. And he's like, no, you don't. You manipulated because I wanted to put my hand on the ground in the dream.
Yeah.
Like that is the fight that we had in the battle.
Yeah.
You witnessed it. That was my nightmare.
You're the one who pulled my hand up.
You pulled my hand up. You're able to manipulate the dreams. He's like, you could walk right into Mel Green's dreams and see exactly what he sees.
Right. And here's the thing. I'm going to go back to a Rebecca Yarros interview. And someone asked her, how much of Violet's second signet have we seen? And she said maybe 10%.
Dude.
So I think this is going to come into major play later.
Yeah.
Because at first I was kind of like,
signet.
because Zayden was also saying, like, it makes sense. Andarna comes from a peaceful, it makes sense that it was more of a passive power like this. Yeah. So I was kind of like, how is this more powerful? I don't really understand.
By the way,
when Zayden explained that, I was like, holy shit.
This was one of my theories on what it was.
It was.
Yeah.
It was something with the dreams.
Yeah. Wasn't like she can control stuff or see stuff with her dreams.
Look at you.
Yeah. So basically, Rebecca heard our podcast that we haven't posted yet.
Obviously.
Okay. Anyway, so she actually thinks it's Marin's dream, and she like starts getting dressed, and then Zayden starts getting dressed next to her, and she's like, "Wait, what are you doing?" He's like, "Going with you, like wherever you're going." But anyway, she gets dressed. She goes next door to Marin's room, knocks on the door, wakes Marin up, and is like, "Hey, do you like have a picture of your family or something?"
Which I'm picturing it's like 1 o'clock in the morning or something like that.
And she's like she even, I think, opens the door yawning and wiping her eyes. Like,
or yeah, it's early in the morning, isn't it?
Yeah. And she's like, yeah, weird question, but I actually do.
Do you want to see it?
Yeah, like here it is. And it's actually, she's like, that's why the boys, when they save the boys, they look so familiar.
Right.
Because she saw that picture in her dream.
Again, Violet is typically observant. Seems like something she would have picked up. But okay.
Exactly. But I mean, a picture of a family in a nightmare you had a month ago, like you would remember that?
I mean,
you would just be like,
she was pleading with Kat.
You would just feel like you have deja vu.
I think it was a pretty weird dream.
It was. But anyway, or Marin even was like, yeah, it was my biggest nightmare that I'd lose it and I would leave it behind.
And in the dream,
that's exactly
caught on
what
fire.
Happened.
Like, yeah. Right? Like it was gone.
Yeah. So she now has confirmed through 2 sources that she can accidentally wander into dreams, and mostly nightmares of her boyfriend has.
Well, that's another thing we didn't say. In the moment, Tarn was like, what did you give her? Or Andarna kind of says, I didn't choose it. Just like Tarn didn't choose lightning for you, and it's harmless. You just mostly are drawn to him.
Yeah.
You just wander over there.
You just kind of stay over there.
It's fine.
Scope is very small.
Yeah.
Just stay obsessed with your boyfriend.
It's like, I have a...
But this actually makes sense because during the time that signet comes, like we already know that it gives you what you need at the time. Right.
Oh,
and
yeah.
at the time her quote unquote signet appeared, or I guess it's not a quote unquote, at the time her signet appeared, that's when Andarna was in the deep sleep. And she needed connection to Andarna.
Yeah.
And
wasn't it Tarn who said maybe you projected that to her because that was what your need was?
And it makes sense also because her kind of dragon is a passive kind.
Right.
So that is a very, very powerful, it's actually considered intrinsic. Yeah. So she would be immediate, even though she has the most powerful weapon to fight the venom. If leadership finds out, she will immediately be killed.
Yeah, Zayden was like, they'll kill you if they find out.
And then even though Zayden's the biggest help against venom, if anybody finds out about him, he'll be immediately killed.
He's got 2 stones, 2 strikes. They find out he can read intentions.
Yes.
And if they find out
he's venom. So
dun, dun,
This is a true Bonnie and Clyde team here, just living outside the rules.
Book, they're like both gonna actually be evil.
I actually have a theory that Bodhi is intrinsic too.
I think he is too.
Yeah,
yeah,
because he has to have 2.
Well, and the way he said just like Zayden.
Yeah,
it might be a different way, just like Zayden.
And Bodhi knows because he's intrinsic. Oh, snap!
Boo, 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 boo.
Okay. So she's actually one of the most, so in the middle of them like putting all this together and waking up Marin, Taryn actually in her head says, a horde is 20 minutes out or from the east or whatever it was.
Bogey, 9 o'clock.
Yeah. And so we know that historically they've been testing the wards.
Yeah.
So something in there is saying the wards are about to fall, if not fallen, right? Or they're just not strong enough. So there's just a horde. So we need to go out and we are in war.
What I loved about this is like right away, because everyone always is in the hallway.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're all there. Like
Why
they all
not?
come
Yeah.
up. But Zayden, her realization that it's Zayden who's in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Because both of his first generals or whatever are in different places, and he's finding out, and Violet has the realization like,
oh wait, he said his generals.
My
like,
man's the one running this show.
He's making all the decisions right now.
We're at the last third of the third book, and you didn't know? No.
So they're like, okay, infantry here,
Cadets,
whatever's
you just
here.
stay here and protect
Yeah,
this.
cadets, you protect the wardstone.
That's what.
And immediately Violet's like, that's not using your brain. Like, I need to be I'm your best weapon. And Brennan actually comes in and is like, no. Like, you stay behind. So it's not only Zayden that we have to worry about. It's Brennan.
You HR'd that. No. He said, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. But Zayden actually agrees with her, and he's like, okay, I need to think like the king that I am. The Duke that I am.
Yeah. And Ree right away was like, we'll go.
Yeah.
Send us with her.
Because Violet can't be the only one. We need to stay as a squad, which I love that because they do fight so in sync with each other.
They do. And I'm going to read this because I loved Ree's line. She's like, if it's a fight and die or a don't fight and die, we'd rather fight.
Yeah. Duh.
Zombie
apocalypse.
And that's when I was like, okay, you're right. Or he said only volunteers.
Yeah.
And Dane was like, we're
all in.
Everyone steps up.
Yeah. So their whole squad,
like, dun, da, da, da.
Their whole squad is going. Meanwhile, Zayden makes Bodhi stay. And he's like, no, you are the heir. Neither of us have kids. You're the future. You have to stay. And Bodhi is so pissed. He's like, I'm a writer just like you. And you're actually the person. Like, I'm just first in command. You need to be saved.
Yeah.
But he's winning.
Like, you're the only heir.
Yeah. So they're in a fight. But anyway, they are stationed on a wall now. And Ree and Violet take 100 feet and above. And Riddick and Sawyer take 100 feet and below. Right. And so they are ready to go. And as they look out into the horizon, they realize that the Wyvern are coming, but they're not in formation. And they're like thinking through, okay, the strategy there is they know Violet's there and Violet can't kill them all at the same time. They're in like pairs to get through the ward easier because, again, they've been testing it. And so Violet can't just kill them en masse like she has historically been able to.
Right. Which means they know she's there.
Yes.
Which means they have a rat.
They have a rat. Auric had, right before they all get on their dragons to like go execute this plan.
Yeah.
Auric comes running up and says, Violet, you need to go protect the Temple of Dune, which is actually outside the wards.
Yeah.
So going to a place that is not protecting the wardstone and the civilians and everything, we're going outside on this like random thing, right? And Auric is like, no, you need to. That's how we win.
That's how we save
This is how we save Tyrandor.
Yeah, she kind of blows him off.
Yeah, and she's like, no. And then
she's like, I will take that under consideration.
Okay, first year.
Bye.
Wink.
Bye.
Okay.
They did in all this to have Andarna protect the wardstone since the cadets weren't going to do it anymore.
Yeah, and so so she's telling Andarna, you stay here, and Andarna's always like, I'll be where I need to be. Like she never like fully commits to anything.
Yes, she's like, why does she? Okay, now we have to go this way.
Yes. So anyway, they are up and they are like coming through, and Violet's just like, I need to be farther away.
And Tarn was relaying it, and he's like, your squad leader who's wrong.
Yeah.
Is saying we should do this. They wanted her on the outsides, and he's like, you can't be that close to the wall. You can't wield your lightning.
It's putting civilians in danger. So your squad leader's wrong.
They made the call to veer off.
Yeah.
And Ree followed her.
Yeah. Ree was like, okay, I agree with this shift in plans. Now Sawyer and Riddick have to watch the whole wall by themselves.
They got it.
Yeah. And they actually go off and they get further out so that way Violet can actually use all of her power.
Well, and part of that is Ree has her like turn on the light with her conduit to get a little bit of light. And this is like one of my favorite parts with Tarn because I feel like, is it Tarn? Tarn. My favorite part's with Tarn. So she's lighting up with the conduit like a glow, like an orb. And he's like, drop the conduit. she's like, but it's going to be too dark.
Yeah.
He's like, we are the night.
Yes.
And then they're flying around and she can like hear and feel him. Like,
Yeah.
and he's like, it's been ages since I've honored the color of my scale in such a manner. It's like we got to see like the excited, like the Cassian.
Yeah.
Right? Of him like loving war.
Well, and then Andarna says through the bond, like, quit showing off. It's not that cool.
Right, which is totally as a teenager busting her out because Violet's like, you are way too close.
Yeah.
Why don't you ever
I can
listen to me?
feel you now.
You are not at the Wardstone.
Don't you love when your kids accidentally tell on themselves?
They do it all the time.
It's so funny. It's
All
like
the time.
I saw this one Cops episode where she hails down a police officer and says, "Hey, that woman stole money. I was trying to buy drugs." And she just took my money and locked the door and won't give me my money back or the drugs. And the police officer's like, "Do you really want me to investigate this?" And she's like, "Hell yeah, I do. That was my last $20. I need to go find some crack." Like,
it's like, okay, well, turn around. You're under arrest. What?
And then he goes to the door and is like, "Did somebody knock on this door trying to buy crack?" And she's like, "No." And close the door. Like, there's no proof that she did any of that. She just got some free $20. Yeah, this homeless lady gave me $20. I thought it was a donation.
She just said.
Yeah. So they go out and Taryn, in true Taryn form, is just like, F it. I'm going straight through the horde.
Yeah.
And he just starts like barreling through Wyvern and like biting their necks off. And
I'm not going to lie, reading it the way she does it, where it's like 5, boom, 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 this happens. 4, like Violet's counting down. It's like 5 seconds, but we get like 5 paragraphs
in that
of war.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah. At one point in time, he actually like grabs a hold of the Wyvern's neck and then does this like nosedive spiral turn and like breaks the Wyvern's neck by doing it. Drops him and then comes back up. And Violet's like, "God, I almost threw up. Please don't do that again." He's like, "We broke his neck with honor and grace," or something silly like that. And she's like, "Yeah, but still, let's not do that again. That doesn't feel good, man."
Right.
But he's killing it. This whole time, she's like building up her power, and Taryn's like, "You're taking too much. You're taking too much."
Yeah.
Like, and so she builds it up, and she sees the Wyvern, and she actually takes one out with her power.
Right.
But she's like, "Oh, fair. I probably overdid it, and now I feel a little drained."
Right.
So it's interesting that she's like, "Okay, Taryn can see that I flooded it too much. That wasn't very strategic."
Yeah.
So then ironically for the next time, like there's a couple Wyvern coming, she is like pulling it a little bit slower. I don't know if you noticed that in reading it.
No.
Yeah.
At 0, when she does that countdown, right?
Yeah.
All of these things at 0, she sees a silver-haired Venom.
Yes.
Riding on a huge Wyvern.
Yes.
And right when that happens, Tarn banks into a Wyvern.
Yes. Well, and so he kills that Wyvern, but one of their wing spurs actually lands in his like backside. So anyway, Taryn like has to land because he can't fly right now. He's in pain. And so Fear actually lands 2 with 3. And Ree's like, "We almost had him. Like, you took out one. We could have gotten another one. They were on the run, you know?" And she's like, that was Theophany. We can't fight her." And Rhea's like, "Why not?" Like, she's like, "We could take her." I could totally see Rhea be like, yeah, there's both of us. We could totally
turn
take
around
it.
and it was like, oh shit. And they realized it was like his whole leg.
Exactly.
It was a huge wind spur.
Meanwhile, they had landed right in front of the Temple of Dune.
Of course. In true fiction.
Exactly.
Fantasy novel.
And all of like the priestesses are actually just standing outside on the stairs.
Yeah.
And just like calm. They say to Violet, "Oh, do you use our shampoo too?" They're like, "Do you use the herb blah 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 for your hair?" And she's like, "This is really not the time to talk about this.
Get
right
inside!"
Now.
And they're like, "Nope, we're gonna stay right here."
No, we will. If Dune wanted us to, like, she's like, "We don't want to burn inside. If Dune wanted us to be protected, then we will. If not, we will go see Malik." And she's like, "Dune's not coming. Like, Dune's not gonna come fight for you." And she's like, "I know. She sent you."
Who else was there?
Andarna, she was on the stairs and she's actually, and it was so funny. She's like, Andarna, you're supposed to be at the Wardstone. And Andarna's like, the prince told us, and
The
I'm an
prince said to
extension of
protect
you.
Dune's temple. And she's
And
like,
he commands our armies. He's our boss's 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 boss.
Well, no, I like how Violet's like, I told him I denied his suggestion. I didn't like his suggestion. She's like, Princess, don't make suggestions.
That was an order.
That was an order.
So not going good.
Right.
Ree actually luckily uses her power to actually pull the wing spur
Yeah, she
out.
summons it out.
Yeah.
And Violet's like, you can do that?
And she's like, that's kind of the biggest one I've ever done.
No,
but
she's
yes,
like,
I can.
No, I liked how
practice
she was
too.
like, I practice.
Yeah.
Riddick said that same thing to her.
Yeah.
I practice.
So Violet thinks she's off by herself just practicing. Everybody wants to be good.
I think sometimes Violet doesn't realize how much she's not around.
Yeah.
Like,
You mean she's very egocentric in her own
see,
drama?
Life goes on without you. Violet's like telling, tell them to tell Ferge to fly away.
Yeah.
Before Theophany gets here and Ree won't leave. And then Theophany comes around and she's telling Tarn, fly, get out of here, get out of here.
Yeah.
And she says, if you lift a blade or a hand to wield, I will kill you all. Like I'll pull from the ground,
everybody.
I'll kill you all. You come with me.
And Andarna's right next to her.
Yeah. And she goes, if you come with me, I'll let them all live.
Yeah. Like a little bitch.
Right. So they're standing there and that's
and
when
the leader of the group who actually
leader of the group.
the head priestess
Yeah.
who actually had a tete-a-tete with Violet actually was like, traitor.
No, she's like, you're not welcome here, heretic.
Yes.
And that's when Violet's head like instantly goes to heretic. Because, that means like, that's religious, right?
Oh, yeah.
So then she went to the tattoo on the faded tattoo on her forehead.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, she used to be a priestess of Dune. And then she does go into, I didn't realize, like, a priestess is higher. Like, you can be dedicated, but then, like, the priestess to work your way up.
It's a leadership position.
In a revengeful God's temple.
Yes. So Andarna actually takes this moment of distraction to jump up and put Theophany.
I gotcha!
Woohoo! Remember my fire?
You did the Mario woohoo.
Woohoo! And then like steps back and realizes Theophany, not a scratch on her.
It didn't work.
It did not work. So
but Theophany's response.
What?
Marvelous.
Yes.
I thought that was interesting.
It's sad. It's sad that it didn't work, and I feel like Andarna couldn't take another hit.
Oh, I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought Theophany, like, looking up, like, after fire was on her.
Yeah.
And then Andarna standing there, and she's like, marvelous.
Yes. So all of a sudden, she, like, looks up bright eyes and is like, oh, and, like, runs away and does, like, the quick getaway like Garrett would.
Everybody this way! Like, retreat!
And she actually sees some wyvern flying, and so she actually, like, builds her power, and this is when she summons it responsibly. And Violet does. And, like, takes out one of the wyvern, and she notices when she takes out that wyvern, for some reason, all three of them, the formation all falls. And as she does it, they feel it, and the wards have gone up.
They feel the magic.
They feel the magic. And so all of a sudden, that's why Theophany left.
She felt the wards. What we also didn't say either is a couple of them ran together, and they clasped hands, and then they disappeared.
Yeah.
Just like Garrick does.
Yes. There's wyvern falling from the sky. They take out this pillar. There's like stone flying everywhere. Violet's trying to rush to get people to safety. And all of a sudden, there's a big boulder that's about to land on her. And it gets paused in midair by a shadow. And it turns out that Xaden had been there and he protects all of them from the stones. And it's because as soon as Seagal felt Taryn get hurt, she started zipping right towards them, and Xaden made it just in time to save our violence.
It was good. There was that whole scene when we were listening to it. I turned to it like, I want to see this on the show because like in all of that, it's like Atrum like pushes Andarna out of the way from one of the wyvern falling with her head like sled,
Yeah.
it's like chaos. Like everything's falling
Yeah.
from the sky, there's stone going everywhere. Zayden's there saving. It
Yeah.
was a lot. It
It'll
was a
be
lot.
good.
It was a
And
definite Marvel scene.
oh, for sure. And so the dust settles, and all of a sudden, who appears but what's his name? Theothan. Yes, there's a high pitched thing, and he says, "Human, it seemed necessary to fire your wardstone."
Yes.
So he did come back, and he saved the day.
He did. Here you come to save the day.
Doot, doot, doot.
How did you say his name? Leothan?
Leothan
tells them that he's been watching her. So
Yeah.
been hiding in the wings and
Which
spying on you.
It's so cool that they can just camouflage.
I know.
And just
he's been
show up
spying
whenever.
on her.
And you know how much our family likes the like our present is our presents, our
That's
surprise.
the ultimate.
We love doing the like, oh, we can't make it, but then we surprise make it.
Yeah.
We would love having camouflage pair.
I think that's creepy.
That's more like our Doyle
You
rules, but with
camouflage
surprises.
and watch me from afar. I'm punching you in the tit.
Okay,
as soon
let's
as
be
you
honest.
appear.
That would totally be my superpower.
Ooh,
To camouflage and hide. Like that's perfect.
story.
That's me.
That would be your camouflage.
Yeah. So when they were coming up, obviously Zayden's right next to her, and Ree's never seen an Irid before. And so she signs to Ree like they're passive, like make sure you hide your guns and stuff.
Yeah.
And Zayden actually stands and he's like, okay, tell them I said thank you. But he knows, like,
Get out of here.
get out of here.
Yeah.
And so he actually leaves, but Seagal stays.
He is being very condescending as he was before. I loved at one point. I think it was Ferge like growls or something like that. And he's like, "I thought you would be a lot nicer for a green." And they were like, "Listen, we defend her. We'll kick your ass too. We won't be very nice." So he tells them he's been watching, and it was basically, "What'd you find?" And he said, "Your behavior has been abhorrent and your actions misguided.
Yeah.
But your motives are honorable."
Yeah.
So he liked what he saw, basically. He does confirm that they were right. They were separated by generations, but they are from the same den.
Yep.
And everyone's getting a little lippy. So he basically says, your human can stay, but the rest need to leave.
Yeah.
Tarn is like, I will not leave you unprotected. I won't leave them unprotected. And Leothan said, the fact that you think they need protection is why my words are only for them.
Yeah.
Like
you're proving my point.
Violent POS. The whistle.
Yeah.
We hear the whistle again, and they're cut off. Tarn roars. Like I saw the Jurassic Park T-Rex roar in Warning.
Yeah.
Leothan wants Andarna. He said, we think we could teach you. Wants Andarna to come back with him. Because Andarna at first was like, you're going to stay and teach me? And he's like, no, I want you to come home.
And she's like, I can't. What?
Well, he also says that they might not agree. It may take years to get them to understand, but they'll understand the decision eventually. And Andarna's like, I can't. I'm bonded. Like, we feel each other. And he's just like, so end it.
Yeah.
So end it. And bonds are magical ties. You are magic. Bend it, shape it, break it.
Do whatever.
As you see fit.
And she actually, Violet at this point in time feels a shift in her energy. Somehow her emotion went from like protection or whatever to fear of loss. So she knew at that point it was like, oh, she's actually thinking about it.
So he went farther into the description of, he turned to Violet and asked, which dragon did you bond to first? Mm-hmm. And Violet was like, I bonded them both on the same day. And he's like, who spoke to you first? And she remembered back, and she said, Tarn did, because you didn't tell me until we actually were there. Yeah. Leothan turned and said, only Irid can make that second connection. You created a bond where a bond shouldn't have been. Yeah. Wasn't supposed to be. So he turns to Violet and basically says, what would you do? She's obviously he doesn't say crippled, but he basically says, you know that she's affected. Like, what would you have her do? And she just basically said, I love you and I want you to feel complete.
Yeah.
And Andarna starts to say, I don't even know how. And it gets cut off. We hear the whistle and Violet hears nothing. Like, it's gone.
Yeah.
Leothan just disappears. And Darna, like, looks at him. You could tell is pissed and, like, roars. and then just also is gone and disappears. Violet like collapses. She is absolutely done. You hear everyone else coming over. Tarn is in her mind saying, "You will breathe."
Yeah.
Right? Like, I will not die today. You will breathe.
Yeah.
Every part of the crew starts to come over. She sees Tarn. She's talking to Tarn. She sees Xaden. She does make the comment, "I exist for Tarn, but I live for Xaden." Like, she's like trying to talk herself into staying, essentially.
Well, and it's when the bond broke for Liam, he legitimately died.
Right.
So this is like her trying to overcome a loss so big that it would kill you.
You can tell by the way Tarn is getting in her head that that's what he is doing. Like, he's got to talk her through the loss of that bond at all. She ends with just saying, "She left us. She left us. She left us." And Andarna's gone.
She gone.
That was really sad.
That is. Well, and it's just, she actually goes through like how devastating something like that would feel. So it really made you understand the bond even more. She like feels empty without it. She literally had to talk herself into breathing after she lost it.
I know.
Okay. So we went from, we found
the Irids. And
we found the Irids.
And Andarna goes with them.
Which, frankly, is what she was originally upset with. She wanted to go with them. But she didn't want the bond broken, obviously.
Right. So they partially completed their mission.
Yeah, because the Wardstone's active.
Yeah. The Wardstone is active. So Orisha
This also means Xaden's safe in Orisha now.
Correct.
He used to only be safe at Besgaiath.
Yes.
Which means they can bang everywhere now.
For someone who doesn't like to talk about it, you sure like to talk about it.
I'll take it.
I'll just take it out. I'm going to ask you a weird question.
Oh boy.
What was your favorite aisle?
We have the place where they tried to murder him because they thought that would mean that the dragons.
With the panthers.
Yes. We have.
And Aura's head on a platter.
Yes.
A little psychotic.
Yes, but they're merchants, so you get what you get.
True story.
There's no trickery there. So there's a pro-con.
Yes.
Then we have the place where you have to beat somebody to hell to show your strength.
Dune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not my place.
No.
Then we have the intellectual but very cold, like...
No.
Elon Musk. Very like cold, evil villain. So
where did we just
Lex
go through?
Luthor. The Lex Luthor Island.
The Lex Luthor Island, okay.
Okay. You can make correlations to any modern day.
And then we had the...
Then we had...
Who's the guy in Marvel that...
Lucky guy.
Keeps all the stuff?
The Collector.
The Collector.
The Collector from Marvel.
That's kind of... Yeah. The
so,
Collector aisle.
I would probably... I'd probably be merchant.
Really? Cortland?
I'm just thinking, are we saying like where you would go live if you had to pick one of those islands to live on? I would not pick Dune. I would not pick the cold intellectual place. I feel like that way of grabbing power is just too sneaky. I wouldn't like it.
Fuck his mom.
But yeah, that was weird. I wouldn't want the lucky place because it just felt very like spooky horror movie about to happen.
I would have picked that place.
Yeah, I would pick. It's like the merchant place. I would have the fucking books. I would have the effing bookstore in the corner. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot that's where she was.
Yeah,
too.
You could just live in the town under radar, like live a nice quiet life.
You're right. That last one was kind of like creepy circus town.
Yeah, it really was.
Because it was like the auditorium was full.
It's like the American Horror Story.
Yes.
The circus one. That's when I stopped watching it because I couldn't do it.
That's when I stopped watching it too.
I couldn't do it.
The witchcraft one was my favorite.
The witchcraft one I liked until the Matador. And then I was like, you can't add bestiality and I'd still be okay with it.
That was the second season that they did the witchcraft one, right?
I don't remember when, but that's when I was kind of like, eh. And then the circus one just tipped me over.
Yeah, the circus one, I couldn't handle that one. That I didn't even finish that season, I don't think.
Yeah, I didn't either.
It's a good show. I should go back and watch that.
It was to be honest, it was already on the edge of too scary for me. I'm okay that I let it go.
Can't hang.
I can't hang. I really want to, but I can't.
I aspire to hang.
Like Stranger Things was a stretch for me.
Okay. We are going to finish Onyx Storm.
We are.
In the next episode.
And then do we want to tell everyone what the book after Onyx Storm is?
Well, we're going to do our break. We're going to have spring break.
Yes.
And in the middle of spring break, we're going to release The Measure.
Da, 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 da.
Dun, da, da, da. So The Measure...
it's our palate cleanser, as we like to say.
It is, but it's still a little, wait, nonfiction. Wait. What do we read?
See,
Fiction.
Just move on. Just move on. Remember, in our description, it says this is not a literary review. Quit using big words.
Should I say what The Measure's about?
No, just say we're reading The Measure by, you better know the author's name.
I don't. I don't know.
No, just type The Measure.
You could take this out. Just type The Measure. Thanks. Thanks.
I'm helping.
Wow. I don't know how I didn't think of that. We're going to release The Measure, which is a single book by Nikki Ehrlich. And it is about 8 ordinary people, 1 extraordinary choice.
Ooh.
They basically open their front door and waiting for them is a small wooden box. And it tells you the exact number of years you will live.
Okay.
And the aftermath of that.
So, and then that will hopefully parlay into us going to a psychic. I want to go back to a psychic so bad.
That was a reach.
Well, because you open a box, find out when you're going to die. You go to a psychic, find out when you're going to die.
That makes more sense when you say it out loud.
Yeah. Okay. Hello. This all goes on all the time. I can make one. That was only one leap. Usually what happens in between I do like 5 or 6 leaps. People.
Then it's a quantum leap.
Well, that's why I'm awkward because people are like, where the hell did that just come from?
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Do we want to say what series we're going to do?
Yes.
So the next series we are going to do is The Crowns of Nixia, which is 3 duologies is what it'll end up being. So we're going to read the first duology, which is The Serpent and the Wings of Night. And the second book is The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. It is basically vampires meets ACOTAR meets Hunger Games.
Which is like right up my alley.
For the first book, that's what it is. The second book goes a little bit different. Well, I mean, it's yeah. Cut that part out. Future Marissa.
I feel like we've said that a lot this episode.
I feel like you're going to edit this and you're going to be like, shh, what the fuck?
At least we really directed it well where we said, we'll cut that out. We'll cut that out.
I think we thought we could do the cabin stuff here, but it's like the kids are still there, so it's not the same. It's not the same. Thank you for talking high tales with your favorite lit sisters.
See ya.
Oh, we're switching it up. Wouldn't want to be ya. I'm just kidding. Come back.
No.
Love you. Say it back. Okay. Bye.
Say it back. Okay, goodbye. Thank you. Gotcha, punk.